Hello and welcome back to Pokemon Emerald. In the last part we got to this sorry, wow, that was weird. But we got back to we got here to Old Lady's rest stop. Come in and rest your tired bones, where she repeatedly asked us to do that, which is kind of creepy. But we also battled this trainer and we could move on into Route 113, which has some new Pokemon to talk about, but I'm kind of bored of talking about new Pokemon, so we're going to ignore it. Yay. So let's fight some trainers instead, because I was not done talking about the Pokemon in the last part. So I kind of glanced over all of them and talked about their strengths and weaknesses. And of course I said Slugma is probably the worst Pokemon in the game, which is still true. I'm not going to take that back. I still think it's probably one of the worst Pokemon ever. To be honest, I don't understand its design ever, really. It's a magma slug. I mean, cool. And then it evolves into a snail, a magma snail. It's, to be honest, Macargo doesn't really make much sense. Is that really all that was up here? Huh. If I go down, doesn't... Yeah. So the sandstorm will stop us. There was really only one trainer. Are you kidding me? Also, you're probably going to hear my my switching of movement to go up these sand slopes. I'm sorry, I have to press it quite hard, so not much I can really do there. I think that's everything we can, so I guess let's move on to Route 113. So what can you find on Route 113? Well, I will talk to you about it once I get done with Torkoal, because I kind of sped through it really fast. So I already said it's super slow. One of the slowest fully evolved Pokemon in the game. Shuckle's the only one that beats it. I've already said all that. Fire types, I want to make note again. Just because it's a fire type does not mean it's doomed because there's so much water. It just means it's going to have a harder time showing off. So, just remember that. Numel still has a place, just as Torkoal could. No. No, it's not. Do you know how dangerous this is for your lungs, kid? You have a terrible parent. What the hell? What parent would do that? Hey kid, go play in the volcanic ash. What? What? Terrible parenting. This was a bad idea. I should have switched. Wait, I can't switch. This is terrible. This is a terrible. Yeah, so Trapinch has Arena Trap, which means I can't really move. Electrike, can you please crit or not die? Bane attack. I should live as long as I don't get critted. I guess I cannot use Electrike in this route. I did not think there would be that many Trapinches here. My bad. Oh well, it's not that big of a deal. We have Curlia that can pick up the slack. Same level, not too big of a deal. I'm actually going to switch Marshtomp because I think there's a forced double battle around here. So yeah, Torkoal is not necessarily the worst Pokemon. And I love getting interrupted by phone calls, by the way. But it doesn't have the speed, and also it doesn't really have the great move pool. It gets Body Slam, it gets Flamethrower, yes. Oh, here's the forced double battle. And overall, if you're going to go with a fire type, you should have gone with Torchic. Or you pick Numel. There's not a lot of options in this game, and you're kind of stuck. Sorry to say. Now, let's talk about Route 113. There are two new Pokemon, I believe. Yeah. I want to say there's two new Pokemon. What's amazing here is that Ice Beam is actually better. I think I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it. It came out of nowhere, I swear. Ugh. Anyway, there are two new Pokemon we could talk about. Spinda. Let's talk about Spinda. It's the most common thing. You're going to run into it several thousand times. Spinda is a pure normal type. Has even stats across the board. It's basically a normal Glalie, if you want to harken it back to something else. Decent move pool, of course. Normal type. It's not the worst thing you're going to use, but to be honest, don't use it. It's not good. If you have a choice between Slugma and this, or Spinda, it's a tough process. I'd go with Spinda still, but it's a tough process, and that shows how bad it can be. One thing I've noticed is that there are a bunch of combinations. I don't remember the exact amount because, to be honest, it's useless trivia. Which sounds like it would be perfect for me, but I don't care about Spinda. But the spot placements of Spinda have like some billion different spot placements in the game, which is pretty cool. And also, I'm holding in a sneeze, and you could probably still hear it, so that's why I kind of stop and go. And you might actually hear my breath, too. Well, my breathing, because I'm holding in a sneeze. I really just want to sneeze, but I know it will be loud, and yeah. Which is weird, because I haven't had this problem ever. And Volcanic Ash is on this route. I think the game is affecting me in real life. There you go. There's some science for you. In all seriousness, let's talk about the other Pokemon that can be found here. Skarmory. Ooh, I just got chills when I said its name. Skarmory saw great usage in my Pokemon Crystal LP, and overall, I can't say enough of good things about it. It has decent attack, great defense, decent speed, decent everything. The only thing that really sucks nowadays is that with the advent of abilities, Magnet Pull is going to devastate Skarmory's. That means a Magnemite shows up, well, you're now in danger of being dead, Skarmory. Sorry to say. It really sucks. It's not the worst thing in the world. Skarmory still has a lot of good stuff to do. Still has a apparent advantage over several other flying types with its steel typing. But when it comes down to it, it just has a better time in this game. It's actually amazing. If you really want to see how good Skarmory is, I used the Skarmory in Crystal, and I'll say it was probably I would call it a above average team member. In this game, it can be better. You have access to Steel Wing if you haven't used it already. You can put it right on. And it also has a better just move pool. It has Peck. It can get Air Cutter pretty soon after you catch it here. I think it's like 6 levels after. Fly is far away, which sucks. But overall, Skarmory is just very good for this game. The only thing that sucks is there's a lot more fire types here than there were in Pokemon Crystal, which will suck. And there's also the abilities that kind of shut it down, Magnet Pull being the primary one. So, while it's not super good, it's still a very good Pokemon, and I can recommend it. It's actually, I mentioned last time, I believe, that if I did not use a Crobat, I would be using a Weezing. And I would also be using a Skarmory for my flying type. But I thought I would go with something different because I love Crobat. And also, I think seeing the same Pokemon twice in a row gets kind of boring. I did it with Gengar, but I felt that Gengar kind of rounded out the team. But I don't know, I still flip-flop on that choice. And I believe that's it for this route. I don't think there's anything else. You know, this is what sucks going off of memory for routes. Magnitude 7, ouch. But one thing I do want to talk about is when I do record these, I try and not do post-commentary because one, it feels cheapened. I don't get enough like reaction out of myself. I don't react much at all when I'm normally commentating, and I basically get rid of all reactions that I do. Like, imagine if I had freaking caught Articuno with that one ball with just post-commentary. That would have been terrible. I wish Electric was healed, but I don't want to waste time. But when I do record these, I go based on pure memory, and so sometimes I will gloss over something that I can't think of. I think probably the most embarrassing one I can think of recently was when I was talking about Shedinja. I never mentioned it as 1 HP. I didn't even mention it later. I just totally forgot about it. And you can actually check the Spinda thing that I was talking about earlier. You can look at its spots and you can see it's different. There's apparently billions of combinations. Though I'm not sure if you really care that much about it. And sadly, Marshtomp is the fastest Pokemon on the field, which is very sad. When it comes to recording stuff though, one thing I do want to point out is I have a lot of these games not 100% memorized, but I've played these games a lot. And that does not mean I know everything about it, of course. I'll never pretend to know everything about it. But I do have inklings to what is good, what is not. I've used most of every Pokemon at a team at one point in most of every game. There are a few that I have not touched at all. Before Pokemon Crystal, I did not touch Kingdra at all. That way of using Kingdra. I did use a Kingdra at one point, but it was through other happenings. What I did is I picked up a Horsey evolved Seadra, and I waited until a Dragon Scale far later in the game. Which, it actually got a lot less usage than if I had just if I did the little grinding method I did with Thief and got the Dragon Scale there and then evolved it. It actually got a lot less use in my previous one where it was stuck as a Seadra for longer. I forgot these had Fan Attack, actually. That sucks. So, I do learn a lot about doing these, and I do go kind of with no script. Sometimes if I'm thinking about a lot of stuff right before our part, I will actually, I will kind of remember certain things. How did I do that? How did I just, thank you. I don't know how I just rolled right by. Holy crap. Are you a trainer? Please tell me. To take this Volcanic, it can be fashioned in glass, which is actually what we can do in this glass workshop, which we will talk about next time, because I will be somewhat messing around with it. So, I do want to go back to slightly, it wasn't really a conversation, it was more of a kind of just description. But when I commentate stuff, sometimes I will gloss over certain happenings in the game. I've done it quite a bit. I mean, I just talk and talk and talk, but it does not mean I am not 100%, but I'm not ignoring the game. I've played this enough, I know what to do. Just saying. And the reason this conversation came up is not because anyone made mention of it. I just know it's a different style than a lot of people use. A lot of people use a very reactionary style to, playing video games in general. They like to get the surprise factor in horror games. I'm not very good at horror games because I don't get scared. I just don't. So I treat them like puzzle games and I get bored. And then I don't play them. The only game that ever, really scared me, Self-Destruct. Huh? What? That was dangerous. That was very dangerous. The only horror game that probably ever scared me is Resident Evil 2. So, but that's more of a younger me thing that translates over. Anything here? I guess we can end it here. A little short. Yeah, look, it's about even. Whatever. So if you enjoyed this part, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, whichever you prefer. I will make sure to heal off screen so you don't have to deal with it. And I will be checking to make sure I said everything I wanted to say on these routes, because I've been going based on pure memory for the past all these parts, and I want to make sure I'm not glossing over any information, and make sure you can make a informed decision on your team if you are going off my thoughts and opinions, which, cool if you are. Thank you for the trust, but I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you, Spinda, for signing me out, I guess. And, of course, till then, guys.